Alright, y'all, it's LakerFan here. As I talked about today's video, here to showcase how to break 2-3 zone in NBA 2K23 in the rec center. So this would be something for comp pro-am. People don't generally run 2-3 zone in comp pro-am. It's more so man matchups where like locks guard guards, guards guard locks, centers guard power forwards guard center, all types of stuff like that. Because it's more man matchups and trying to avoid having to switch and stuff like that. And obviously in zone, when it comes to a team-based thing, it's easier to put maybe certain people in different areas where if they were trying to hide a guard somewhere, you could just attack that guard every single play. However, here's the 5 we're going against in today's video. I don't exactly know the heights and stuff like that. I wasn't super locked in on the intros of this video. Then come to find out, we're going to be in a little bit of a sweaty game here. So I want to showcase to you guys how to beat the 2-3 zone as a point guard. Now, this would 100% imply that you're probably going with a 5-out offense. Now, I will say, you can still beat 2-3 zone plenty easily through pick and roll offense. I actually think it might even be easier, to be honest with you, because then they have this big center camping down in the paint every single time, and all it's going to lead to, if you were to, let's say, be running pick and roll, where let's say maybe Tonic was my pick and roller. Well, in that case, I'm setting a screen right here and coming off this man right here, going to the right, and then boom, I would either just have a shot because this guy's just going to try and front the corner, or this guy's going to end up being the hedge defender as well. And if the hedge defender steps too far out, you get a pick and roller to go in, you have a pick and popper up top, stuff like that. Now, when it comes to 5-out, it's more so you attacking these little 2 wings right here, the gaps of the defense, and you want to select the side that you're looking to target a little bit. As you can see on this one right here, we identify extremely quickly. Like, I just see a center booking it down to the paint, and we got 2 wings pinching me. So we're going to the wing with it, and then the wing can go to the corner or back to you at the top with it. I probably should have like just stayed at the top right here as well. So essentially, the thought process here is, if I move the ball to where the wing is and just stay at the top again, then it's going to put pressure on this left side specifically to have to like kind of reverse things. So in my opinion, it would mean center would have to go back over here, this guy would move up to the wing, and then this guy stays on me. But you're going to see they don't exactly do that, so now I'm running back to the top. I get the ball again, but now I'm in a little bit of danger zone. So this is where it really just varies based on your play style, because obviously I catch it, I'm not exactly in shooting range. Then when I get to this point, obviously the wing is trying to pinch. They're fronting corner, pinching from wing, making it so the center can just stay in the paint, because obviously if I can't just cut Joey right here. If I cut him, he ends up in the paint right where this guy's waiting. So I have to stay patient with this, look for the 3-point line everywhere, because obviously if someone's in the paint, that means that one of these 2 guys is going to have to be moving over here, aka they both would have to. But then if I fake the drive then come back out, it would mean that the center would have to come all the way up to me, meaning that I could just keep the center reeled way up here. I could just kind of bring him up, like wave him up right here, and just force him to have to guard me up top. And then at that point, then I could open up the fact that the center is now removed from the paint and send cuts from the wing, the corner, wherever the case may be. So you can see, all I have to do is kind of read this situation right here. If they don't send that and they don't rotate this guy over to the wing and this guy over to the corner fully, that means I have the pass right there. Now, I could also end up looking to dot Tonic as well, if let's say maybe it just waited a little bit longer. And I think that's the key. You want to dot the corner early, wing late when it comes to those little rotations. Now, ironically, both teams are running 2-3 in this game as well, so our 2-3s is about as simple as this. We're not like really playing spots. I'm letting Nut guard ball, and then I'm taking whichever wing comes up the wing, and I'm taking the opposite side of where Nut is. Simple as that. So essentially, they end up like hitting the corner right here. Joey a little bit unattentitive in the paint, and this can happen a lot in the 2-3 as well. You would be surprised how many times you can just cut right at the center's face, and as long as the center doesn't really just keep his feet planted in the paint, then you're just going to end up with a couple random buckets. Now, I would suggest if you guys run 2-3 that your center should absolutely stay in the paint as long as possible. Obviously avoid defensive 3 seconds at all times, but ideally keep him there and make it the perimeter defender's job to actually funnel things into the paint, whether it's, like I said, fronting the corners like those guys were doing, giving up backdoor cuts from the corner and pushing them right into your center, or again just shrinking the floor with 4 defenders to defend the whole perimeter with 5 people. It really can be pretty easy if you ask me, but again, you got to keep your center's feet kind of planted in the paint and make sure that he's always there for cuts or rebounds or whatever the case may be, etc., etc. Now, also, what can be done is, as you can see, I'm watching this center on the left side of the court. So it looks like you can kind of just read where his feet are based on which side of the paint he's on. And in this situation, all I have to do is make this right side defender have to guard me, and then boom, I'll have something on the right side of the court. But again, I really am not looking too much on the left side, because right here they have numbers over here. It's 3-on-3. If you count this as a defender on me, and then a wing right here, and then a corner right here, it's 1, 2, 3. 3 guys over here. But then if you count me as the 1, and then count Tonic as the 2, and then we have Salt right here. I'll call him Salt, by the way. He was on his dad's account, Dismode. But anyway, if you have me, Tonic, and Dismode right here, then that means we have 3 on 2. There's only 2 defenders right here. So boom, now we're just playing numbers game, simple as that. I'm going with another Westbrook attack, and if this guy follows me at all and doesn't release, then I'm just going to Tonic. If he doesn't follow me, and then the center becomes my guy, I'll walk it back a little bit and still make sure that nobody's switching back out. Because what's going to happen is they'll probably reverse that, and they'll keep the center down low, keep this guy fronted on the corner, but when I walk it back out, they'll probably keep this guy a little bit more on me and then send him a little bit more to this side. So that's my interpretation on 2-3 zone. We're gonna go straight gameplay from here though, and let you guys just see like nearly a full game of kind of dicing up a 2-3 zone. And this was pretty good on their end as well, I must say. They actually played a really good style of defense and, you know, offense as well. I mean, we ended up playing pretty good 2-3 as well, and I would like to think we actually played it better because, you know, we just won, period. And I'll still be showing the freelance, like half court, full court sets, whatever the case may be, pretty much the whole game. So if you only came here for the small principles of just how to beat the zone, I appreciate you watching. But besides that, I'm going to actually showcase the whole video of like full footage of beating the 2-3. So it's going to be a nice little vid. If you guys enjoy, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all the good stuff. And like always, try to 2,000 likes. So again, our way of doing it is going to be where Nut takes ball, I take opposite wing. On these side out inbounds, it's as simple as Nut just go over to the side where the inbound is going to be, because most people are going to hug that inbound with their PG, and then I'm just going opposite wing. Now you can see we just get a random little bump right there. Here's what it is. Obviously not really too much correlation with the scheme of the zone or anything like that either. And also, I haven't really studied up on this film too much, so we're doing a little bit of kind of live reaction to it. So again, you can see center is kind of rotating over to that right side of the court, so we want to attack the left a little bit. Now what can still happen here, I can either screen Tonic or he can just hit me back up top. Now as you can see, we're reading this little 2-on-1, and this is where things get tough, bro. I'm telling you, because it is really, really unfortunate to have to like make these reads right here when it's super tall people everywhere. Like when it's 6'8", 6'9" spam all over the court, it is so easy for people to play too. As you can see, wing, corner, all defended by just one guy. It's going to be extremely hard. I ended up getting ghost contested by this because as you can see, I get an 18% contest with him just putting no hands up or anything like that. Obviously, elite defender. It is what it is, man. It's just going to be tough to beat. So in my opinion, I think working pick and roll is actually the more efficient way of doing this, where I can just set a screen on this guy, have Tonic run middle, and then Tonic be able to either shoot it or read this as well. And then if this guy chased Tonic way too hard off my screen, I can then pop over to this wing, and then it's a 2-on-1 from this corner as well. And long story short, you want to try and make this center feel really bad about sitting down here in the paint. You want to put a lot of pressure on the perimeter. And in my opinion, I think that's best done in the pick and roll, pick and pop, because as you can see, that is an 18% contest, bro. That's tough. That is very tough to beat. And as you can see, like, I still have a guy playing 2-on-1 right here. So if I dot Salt over here in the corner, that's still not an open shot. And then the ball hits the corner and doesn't have anywhere to go, because then things get ugly, because then even if he tries to drive and then kick, people are going to rotate out. They're going to send this guy to me, this guy to him, and then center just commits assault. So 2-3 zone, it's tough, man, especially when you're playing against a full squad. And yes, I understand we are bringing a full squad in here, myself as well. It is what it is. We're grinding new builds. We're just trying to get our stuff up. I'll never sit here and play in the rec 24/7 and, you know, make everybody else's time such a harder time as well. But as you see, again, front in the corner, Salt's over here stepping up out the corner to the wing, making crazy plays, making it so Joey can just stay down in the paint and protect the paint, because at the end of the day, you don't want to give up cuts anywhere, and that's just obvious, right? So now as you can see, center on Nut. I'm trying to leave this middle open for him, but as you can see, as he starts to walk it back out, he tries to rotate over to his right side. So that's where you want to attack probably this side more than anything. But off this play, you can see we do a little bit of freelance right here. I cut in, center's down though. So now as this pink follows me, I have Nut replacing back to the top, and you would think once again has a shot, but as you can see, dudes are playing too. They really, this defense is so tough to beat, man, when it's run properly. And these guys were 100% running it properly. I will guarantee you that much. So as you can see, Salt with the ball. He ends up not exactly taking it though. It goes back to Joey. Joey's gonna try and post up. I try and wrap around and let him get the corner, but as you can see, we get a little bit of a little bump steal opportunity, and again, things get really sloppy in this offense, man. All right, so I'm skipping over a couple possessions. We're gonna get rid of the full court offense, like when we play good defense and it results in like fast break and stuff like that. I don't think it's a good indicator of the whole point of this video, so we're just not gonna do that. But at least in a couple situations. But anyway, as you can see, I followed down my cut. I'm back out replacing the opposite wing. Now you can see this is actually a really big thing about 2-3 as well. If you want to run it on defense, I'm anticipating that I'm going to take this wing right here, but then the wing ends up cutting. So I follow the wing, and now I'm down here in the paint with Joey, but Nut's still following this guy all the way across. I understand that I'm going to replace and find whatever the wing is, so now I'm just playing two at a little bit of a time, but as you can see, Nut gives up the drive because Joey is still feet planted in the paint, ready to take any drives or cuts that come his way. Now me and Nut both replace out to wing and wing. Now I'm getting cut on, but I'm telling Joey in that moment to stay paint once again still, because as you can see, I'm like anticipating this stuff. I knew I was going to bring this up. I'm speaking it right now. I'm taking this guy as he comes back up, and Joey's got the switch down in the paint. He's there for any cuts, any BS like that, and as you can see, lane. And now we're out on the break as well. And I mean, that one is truly off of good defense, and that's what creates these buckets for us. So I guess, you know, I'll show the occasional fast break as well. But off to 11-2 start. I mean, offense has been sloppy, I do understand, but when your defense can get stops and get you fast breaks, that's a big thing. And you know, we're here to talk about how to beat 2-3, but we're not exactly showing that quite yet. We're really showing how to run 2-3. But either way, you can see, once again, getting steal out on the break. We're going to go ahead and skip to a little bit more actual offense, though. Alright, so this clip right here is probably a little bit more important on the point of patience. Like, as you can see, I have two guys on me on the wings right here. Like, they are both pinching and doubling pretty hard, keeping one guy right here for the drives, and then they both are fronting corner. I mean, look at this. This is tough to beat, man. Now, ideally, maybe they're a little bit tighter to the middle for me, but then that means when they see me pass the ball somewhere, they're just going to release, go that way, and then one guy stays on me, and the other guy still plays too, because obviously, if the ball goes to Nut right here on the left wing, it's going to be extremely hard to make passes to the right here, because this guy can play too easily. Then this guy stays on me, he's right here, and then he's for cuts. Now this is why I encourage the patience aspect of things, because it's going to be really important that this guy right here cannot just go over to Tonic and go and contest this. It's extremely important that I just wait out the corner and make it easy enough for Tonic to shoot some of these shots, and really just need good shooters on the wings too, because this is going to be extremely important, or just off-ball shooters in general. Now again, I did say as well, pick and roll, it's a pretty easy solution. Even if the person isn't inside, you might think, well, how do I beat 2-3 if the dude's just camping paint and I have an inside on my team? Set some big body screens, man. That's what you're built halfway for. So if you set the big screens on your point, like for your point guard right here on one of these wings, make sure you're doing it into the direction of a wing. Like you want to, if I'm the ball handler right here, set the screen on this guy on his right, because you do not want to push your point guard into the middle of the defense. It's going to make it so they can pinch right here, front this corner, and then still be back here. You want to push your point guard away from the middle of the defense over to the wing, and yeah, sure, if he pinches out the corner, he can maybe do that, but that's a way harder play to make. If the point guard were to get screened over here to the right, the center is taking this defender completely out the play, and then I were just to be fading off it to the wing or something like that. And now this defender is, like I said, getting sealed off, taken out of the play, and this guy's just chilling way back far. So to me, that's the best way to attack 2-3 entirely, is just the pick and roll, but obviously it's not what we had out here for today's video. And, you know, some people really do think, oh, I can't beat 2-3 because I have an inside on my team. That is not the case. They're just a bad inside. I'm telling you that much first and foremost, because this stuff is cake to beat if I'm just out here on my screening build and I'm playing with AK on the PG. Now, to be fair, AK at PG is pretty broken as well. It's not exactly a fair comparison. So maybe you just need a better point guard, or maybe you as a point guard are just maybe needing some improvement in your game as well. It is what it is, man. I mean, honestly, there's not a whole lot to it in this 2K stuff, man. You either just get smarter at understanding basketball and rotations, simple as that, or you just get better on the sticks and just better at shooting the ball, simple as that. And again, this guy is all up on me. It's fine though. I'm patient with it, and this is where we start talking about how to beat it with a 5-out. So I know a lot of people will also think, well, how do you beat this stuff if the center is just camping paint? Well, this right here. Pretty big aspect. I mean, and as you can see, I don't even time the meter that perfectly either. It's still a slightly, it was pretty fringe, man. It was almost really close to just being like an early or a late right there. So again, you're gonna see that on display in today's video a whole lot, as far as like me when I have slash take on actually activating the dunk meter and just going straight at the center's head. Now, also, keeping in mind, we're still here to dot a little bit. So I'm ended up kind of reading this defense out a little bit. I'm calling this little cut right here. Now, if you have the access to it, like play calling and stuff like that, that is really nice and key. So this one right here, it's called Fifi. This is what we call it. So Fifi means that the same side will cut and replace to the corner. So we're having Dismode, aka Salt right here, cut down to the paint, and then Tonic going into the corner to replace him. So you can see Salt cutting, replaces back to the top though, so now we're going to put a little bit pressure on them to just actually stay out here, and I'm not going to be able to get blitzed like anything crazy. And as you can see, I mean, we're just getting to the hoop, and we're going to be able to dunk this stuff pretty often. I don't care if the center is meeting me in the paint. He has to really, really come out that paint hard and meet me like at the perimeter before he could ever influence my dunk or anything like that. So I'm not too afraid of it. Now, whether you're able to do the same for your team, if you're just someone that holds your X button, I guess that's kind of up to you to decide. Again, if they meet you further out, you will have situations like this where then he stalls me up and defends me properly, but we were racing the clock right here. Obviously, it is what it is, and actually, I make this for the first time that I've ever seen in this year's game. Normally, when you see that stalled up layup animation right there, you absolutely get kicked out of it, but interestingly enough, it goes. And, you know, I probably had a really good chance at the dunk meter right there if it just activates, but nonetheless, still get the shot to go even with just an X button hold. Alright, so with this possession, I'm going to show you a big negative to running these wing overloads right here. So I assume that I kind of wanted to pick on this matchup that Tonic had right here, so I kind of run off it. Now, I already burnt a lot of adrenaline off doing so, and now I'm getting double teamed out of here. Because once again, this team is functioning at a really high rate. This is a really good 2-3 right here. They are allowing this center to just absolutely stay in the paint at all times because they're fronting the corner right here. They're playing my right off this guy. Everybody's playing in a half-point defense. I mean, look at this stuff, bro. This guy is playing in between these two. This guy is playing in between these two. This guy is playing in between me and Joey, and this guy is playing in between me and Tonic. It's perfect 2-3 defense. This is exactly what you want to do. If I hit Tonic right here, this guy is going to send it up fully, and then this guy is going to end up still being able to play 2 right here. At the end of the day, if they have great defenders, it's extremely hard to beat because people can just play 2 everywhere. I know regular basketball logic tells you swing this way, and Tonic can swing over to the wing right here too, and then Nut can swing to the corner, but at the end of the day, people can just literally walk into your face and make jump shots unhittable. It's not real life. Do not try and equate this to real life because it won't work like that. In real life, if a dude doesn't get a hand in your face, it's not going to impact your shot that much, and in real life, you can even still hit shots through a hand in your face. In 2K, if they get an 18% contest on you, which as you can see was done by them literally just standing in front of my face and not even putting a hand up, you can't make that shot very often. It's not going to happen at a high enough rate. It's just how it is, bro. So you have to attack this stuff in a much more efficient way because you can see I actually swing past this to Nut on the wing. Nut doesn't really get anything out of this. Now this guy's playing 2 off me and Tonic, and as you can see, there's just not a whole lot to do, man. If you pass the ball one way, the dude's going to commit to it hard enough, and then they still play 2 off everybody else. It's great defense, man. It's really, really hard to beat. Alright, now I suppose I will show this. It's really a lot of freelance though, so it doesn't really require a whole lot of showcase, but as you can see, I kind of just get a bump, and then we get out on the fast break with it. Nut with the ball. Not exactly anything going for him. We end up at Tonic, so nothing's really there. Then he hits Joey. Out of this freelance stuff, I do have one thing I potentially could and should showcase to you. It's not likely that this will happen though. This is just undisciplined defense. He ended up kind of just getting out of sorts. So the center ends up guarding Joey, obviously, right? But do we even want that? No, not really. Not a lot. To be honest with you, again, some people will be like, oh, see, there you go. You hit the middle of the defense, and then he's able to just read from there. And that's what you should have been doing in the first place, because that's the way to beat 2-3 in real life. I understand. I get what you're thinking, but that's just not the truth if you ask me in 2K. Like, this guy would have easily just been on me. They should have still been front in the corner right here. They should have been having this guy ended up just stay on me. Simple as that. If we backdoor to Tonic, then yeah, sure, you have your face up mid-range stuff, but then you have the situation of 2K where once again, ghost contest, you can just stand right in his face and then back up into the paint. It doesn't work like that, man. So again, we'll get into some actual offense display right here. There's not a whole lot of real, explanation going on because we're getting so much fast break off the fact that we are playing the unbeatable, broken 2-3 defense as well. But right here, you can see I'm getting doubled a little bit. We have Nut replacing to the top. Now I'm going to drive and bait that a little bit. This is the perfect setup. So this right here was an overload that actually worked. Now, let's kind of break this down and explain why this overload worked. So, first of all, moving pieces. Moving pieces goes a long way, and that really is a huge piece. So, right here, it gets people kind of out of sorts, obviously, right? This guy isn't exactly ready to play that 2, where we were talking about earlier, where he's front and corner and ready to play 2 out the corner to the wing. And then this guy gets left on an island, where, as you can see, he's committed to this corner. And then that makes it so he has to think he's committed to the wing. And then they probably thought that this guy was going to swing up here and that the center would just take me as I drive. But as you can see, a little bit of manipulation of the defense. Little moving pieces, bait the drive in the center. This guy tries to follow me again. It's got to be more disciplined right here, too, though. This on-ball defender has to know that when I drive, if I'm not shooting those middies, you have to rotate out right here and make it easier on your teammates as well. But this is really on 2 people if you ask me. It's on the on ball for not swinging, and it's on the corner for not fronting, because then this guy is put in a little 2-on-1 situation where he is just screwed, man. There's nothing you can do about that. So make people shoot mid ranges if you're trying to run 2-3, and if you are trying to beat the 2-3, be able to shoot the mid-range. I don't have that on this build. I have 40 mid-range currently because I saved it for my upgrades. So I don't have the ability to shoot the middies. So I know a lot of you guys are probably telling me like, oh, just hit a Westbrook and shoot the mid if the center isn't stepping up. You are right. That is a very potential thing. Like, you can just hit that moving crossover forward and then just shoot the mid-range. Simple as that. But again, that's not me in this gameplay. I don't have it upgraded. All right, so right here we have a display where a lot of you guys are going to want to see something like this, but I don't think there's a whole lot of longevity to this, if you ask me. So you're going to see Tonic ends up with the ball, obviously, right? And he's trying to get his mid-range shots, but then the wing pinches, and then I'm open, but obviously it's a hard pass to hit sometimes, to just know your icons at all times in the rec, especially if you're with the lineup that you don't run every single day, every single night, anything like that, like some people in the rec do. But anyway, this is the ball movement one that we were talking about. Now, yeah, sure, like you can run these swings and stuff. We go from Joey, like we go from Tonic to Joey to Nut back to Tonic, and then Tonic ends up with a semi-open shot. But again, man, I mean, this is a tough one right here. I know it ends up being open, and blinders really like went crazy off that. But to be honest with you, this can still be a very good contest, and it's definitely a tough one to beat. And again, this is going to be blue hair playing 2 off the corner right here. So even if you thought I was wide open, I'm not, because this guy's playing 2. I could move over tighter to here, but then as you can see, their whole scheme is not to put a hand up. Their whole scheme is to just run into your face while you shoot the ball, and then if you have to go elsewhere with it and replace back to this wing and have this guy stay up then front this corner, they're going to do all types of stuff like that. So I guess you can try and get away with doing stuff like this consistently. In my opinion, though, it won't work at a really high rate. All right, so now we have an offensive possession that actually went bad, but I do want to showcase what could have went better, and it would be a good explanation of how to beat this defense as well. So as you can see, he goes for the reach right there. Now I'm going to have Tonic set a screen to get me to the right of this defender. This is exactly what I was just talking about. If I'm a smaller point guard that has more offensive capabilities and better Agent 3, better like, you know, Trae Young fade instead of this troll, you know, Tyler Hero opposite ball hand, like my right hand fades are horrible. I'll put it like that. My left hand fades are really good, but my right hand fades absolute garbage. Either way, I could still stop this on the wing, and if Tonic just stayed top right here, it's a clean pick and pop where obviously then they have a 3-on-2 on the perimeter. This guy would have to book it over to the corner again, and as you can see, he doesn't exactly do that. He's kind of lost, so it was a bad execution as far as offensively goes. So I go with this pick and pop right here. If Tonic stays middle, this is a shot, like probably 10 times out of 10. As long as you hold your LT, get ready to shoot, maybe set your feet a little bit closer to here, and don't wrap into this defender. So obviously identifying where open spots are in the court is a pretty important thing, and that's just kind of like basketball, obviously, right? Now, as you can see, it ends up being like that Fifi stuff where I tell everybody to kind of run one over. Even though I say that, though, we probably could still cancel that, and as you can see, then I come up and screen, but then we have bad spacing where, actually, it's funny I say this because then you guys see this exact example where if I were to be screening Tonic, I'd be screening him back into the middle of the defense. And that's where things get ugly, because then you run into this pinch with the 2-on-1s right here, where this guy can play 2, and then they would be ready to swing one over to the corners. You can't do that either, man. I know this video so far is me talking about a whole lot of what you can't do, but we're going to finally showcase some what you can do. Alright, so nice offensive possession right here. You're going to see, I'm actually going to see this identifying like the whole 2-on-3, right? Because somewhere, if the center is leaning one way, that means that there is a 3-on-2 over here and a 3-on-2 over here. Or I should say a 3-on-2 defensively on this side and a 2-on-3 defensively on this side. So if I push it right, I'm forcing this defender to kind of have to guard me. I'm going to put it like that. He doesn't have to, but if I stop and force him to just play that, then there's going to be a problem in that situation. So you want to, once again, attack whichever side the center is not on. If I ran left right here, it'd be the dumbest thing I ever did, because if I just run left, it means this defender is not only protecting the left, but as you can see, if I run left, it's just going to run right into the center, because if I go left with it, that means this guy goes here, and center goes down. Whereas if I go this way with it, the center has to run all the way across to the opposite corner. So with this situation, we're putting a lot of pressure on this 2-on-1. And boom, I'm driving it, baiting it, passing it over to Tonic for the wide open jump shot. You want to just bait those 2-on-1s. That corner that's fronting this stuff, you want to make his life a problem and make it miserable for him because this defender gets over aggressive and blitzes this drive. Because if he doesn't blitz the drive, I'm going down for the dunk meter probably onto the center. And you know, at the end of the day, my dunk meter in this situation is your mid-range, likely, if you're watching this video. If you see me going with this dunk meter stuff into the paint, into the teeth of the defense, right into the center, it's likely a better situation for you to just stop at the elbow and shoot the mid-range, because that's going to be an open thing against a style like this in 2-3 defense for sure. But instead, I bait the drive, pass over the wing, shot. Simple as that. Alright, not that this example is going to be consistent or anything, but I just wanted to show you a little freelance set right here. So I get the ball off the inbound. Center is just, you know, kind of playing corner. They're front and corner right here as well. And I just am looking to drive and attack, but this guy just oversteps. And you can just identify this stuff, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I get pinched from right here and I get pinched from right here. He's pressing up way too far from this side, not to mention Tonic has Limitless and Sharp Take too. So all of that included goes an extremely long way toward opening up my wing and toward the top as well. If people can spot out from this deep, it really does put a lot of pressure on the defense, because it's a harder 2-on-1 to play right here, and it's a harder bait to play on me from the middle, because then Tonic's over here with a shot. And that's the difference, man. I mean, look at that. That's an open, but if he was having to spot up from, let's say, like the Rec logo right here, or essentially just spotting his feet up right here, like Nut is, essentially, right? That would mean that this is a contest all day. Like, that is absolutely contested, and you can even jump at that as defender too, but obviously it gets you out of play a little bit, and then dudes that end up in a bad situation, they're a little bit out of place, and once you jump, the whole defense gets kind of screwed up. So it's not exactly where you want to go. I mean, and we're still doing it too. I mean, as you can see, I'm just baiting defenders into like trying to drop and help me, and with this 92 pass act stuff that I got in the slash take, they have to. I mean, they're trying to play for those pinches. So if I can predict that he's going to try and bump steal me, boom, I'm passing it over to Tonic. Tonic gets a semi-open shot. If it's not open enough, he just doesn't shoot it, and we work pick and roll maybe. All right, so now we're back to a little overload set right here where I get on the wing. This kind of just happens naturally off the inbound. So now, once again, he's going to try and front that corner. This guy is going to be a little bit of a situation where he wants to guard me, but he also has to swing over to the top. And as you can see, I kind of just bait the defense once again. We have that center camping paint, and he doesn't want to replace to the top. If anything, he just wants to replace to the corner. So this is all a defensive miscue as far as this team. And yes, I understand I was saying they were playing an elite 2-3 defense, but one thing they're not very good at in this video is reversing. They're not very good at sending this big all the way to the corner, sending this guy up, and then sending this guy to the top. They don't really understand the whole clockwise rotation sort of deal that needs to happen with this. And because of that, I'm able to just kind of feed Tonic open shots off the fact the center is in the paint, and we're just manipulating the perimeter of the defense. And it's more so through the drive. I mean, look at this. I'm going with the drive. I fake it and bait it, and then he tries to pinch off that. And then obviously center's gonna have to kind of stay a little bit at home to the corner, because this dude's still pinching and stuff too, right? So if the center is running all the way up to the top, I can just call this backdoor cut because he's front and corner, simple as that. So he is here to protect the fact that you're gonna be like constantly fronting the corners, and this is on your perimeter defenders to deal with, like 100%. All right, so fast forward through a lot of wing dots, and we're still here with another wing dot. So I end up with 21 and like 11 or something like that through doing a whole bunch of stuff like this, where again we're putting the pressure on the 2-on-1. Tonic with spamming takeover all over the place because he's just been shooting the lights out, and then I mean the combo of takeover as well just goes hard. So again, baiting this right side wing defender into the drive defense to like really attack like him and force him to guard me, then knowing that the fact that the center is still in the paint, and the center still has to be here because obviously I'm attacking him in the paint as well with his slash take consistently. So it just leads to again, we're just attacking those 2-on-1s. Just wanted to kind of fast forward through all this though, because it's just this over and over and over again for the most part. So that's our biggest explanation as far as that goes. Now, to be fair, we end up with team take right here as well, so not exactly the best fair example of when to give, you know, guides and stuff like that either. Now, if you want to be toxic with this stuff, what you also could do is this. So you can see the center is going to be guarding paint, but obviously you have to watch your 3-second violations as well. So when he sees me run up top, he's probably trying to give himself that little reset right here. He wants to walk out and then back in, but as you can see, I'm just sitting here waiting it out myself. So whether it's him staying in the paint, like, and this is the best way to attack it in my opinion, if you're really like trying to hunt a center having to play defensive 3-second awareness. Now, you don't want to do it while he's right here, then attack in. That gives him a free cue to just running into this and committing to it as he sees you drive. What you want to do is actually attack it while he's in the paint running out. And as you can see, I sync that up perfectly, timing it with him having to reset it, and then boom, he's like kind of trying to account for the corner off the fact that this guy can just play the, you know, attack, and then boom, he can stay up, and then he's still here to like rotate to the corner if he has to. Problem is though, this guy is giving up the drive, anticipating that it's going to be given to the center. And again, that's all in this tiny window frame where I see him start to step out, boom, I go in, and now I get free dunk meter, boom, green, simple as that. And you can probably just get it with your X button too. So there's how to attack the 2-3 off the fact that you have to still be aware of defensive 3-second violation. If you didn't have to, that takes away that small aspect of offense right there that you still have to account for from a defense. All right, so then you have this one where it's a little bit freelance random stuff. This guy pinches a little bit and I get the ball to Tonic, and as you can see, I don't really get a shot to him, but what I end up doing a little bit is like pick and rolling and screening a tad bit. And this isn't the exact example of what I was talking about, because ideally I get this defender out of the play entirely for Tonic, but what ends up happening truly is that I can just pop back up to the top and, you know, kind of have the defense still play a little bit of focus on me. So Pick and pops, pick and rolls toward the wings are also your way of getting some shots against this 2-3 stuff. Where as you can see, Tonic gets his fade to the right wing. He can just say, who cares if this dude ghosts me from the corner, because honestly, he's gonna have to show that he's gonna do it. Not to mention, bailout is a really crazy badge, so if this guy corner ever actually does put his hands up and try and contest you on it, you can just bait him into an auto contest, where obviously if you are playing right stick up defense, it's gonna force you to contest it. So if you go up for the shot, bait that defender into going for a contest on you, then dump it down to the corner over here with a little bailout, like kind of check down to the corner. This defender is going to be completely taken out of the play because he just got sucked into holding his right stick up and gets a contest on you. So those kind of like deep corner, like deep wing fades are absolutely the way to beat 2-3 if you're talking through screens and pick and roll and stuff like that. I think another thing you can do too, and this will be our last clip, is to bait the defense into thinking that you're a 3-point threat right here. So this little snatchback that I do right here, this guy wants, when I fake that drive, to like just swing out to the wing, and he's like, okay, big man's job now. But the thing is, I just faked the drive into stepping back up here. So now he's like, oh, well, I have to guard this again, because center's not going to run all the way out the paint up to here to guard it. And if he does, then again, that forces a defensive situation where I now have a matchup that I want. And if he leaves me, I can just stand at the top, and if he tries to run back to the paint, I just shoot it. Simple as that. So this right here, again, is like the whole, you don't have to do the snatch back, but all I'm trying to say is fake drive, run back. Fake drive, run back. Fake drive, run back. You're baiting the defense into having to move a lot and forcing the center to actually play perimeter defense. 100%. Because if you do that, all you have to do is just wait till he actually commits to the corner, and then boom, you do that thing that I just did on the last clip where you just drive and go. Simple as that. This one right here, I fake the drive, hit the snatch back, and then that opened things up for Joey, because as you can see, we got this guy trying to play a 2-on-1 and this guy trying to play a 2-on-1. So we just get Joey wide open, bang. Not really, but bang. Anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, for drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to win 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put Laker in the comments. Short spurts my way through. Shout out to Tonic as well for being the shooter that I was really targeting in this game. 10 for 14 and 30 points as well. 4 steals, playing good defense. Nut playing good defense as well. And in general, our 2-3 was obviously pretty good too, holding them to 46, and obviously gave up a couple 3-point attempts, but they weren't really hitting too much as well. And that's the whole point. The 2-3 defense creates a lot of ghost contest, semi-contested shots that just aren't exactly the most efficient thing you can ever take. And obviously the paint's pretty protected too, so it's pretty easy to just intimidate shots down low, even though we only really had 1 block, but they had 0, as you can see too. So anyway, that is all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.